Yes, hello there, everyone. Welcome to Brew Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me tonight is my co-host Hefty Duck. And we also invited other people to come on the show. So whether they come on or not, that's a different story. There's always next time. But anyways, we got some stuff to talk about on today's show. We have some ADAM Fantilli news on what his contract could potentially look like. We're going to talk about that. The Blue Jackets had the prospect tournament that they do every year up in Buffalo, and they sent their prospects up there to play in some games, and we're going to talk about that. And so much more. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So we're going to get going here.
Oh, yeah. Welcome in, everybody. I appreciate y'all being here. Big shout out to our audio listeners, as always. You guys have been great to us this whole kind of off-season time, which is pretty cool. If you too would like to listen to us, you can find us on Spotify, Google, YouTube, anywhere that there's podcasts. Generally, we're at. If not, let us know and we'll get there. Probably no one will, but anyway, don't forget to check out our YouTube as well. We are our biggest group is always on Twitter, X, but check us out on Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube. We are trying to grow our Facebook. I mean, we really don't like mess with it much, so follow us over on Facebook or don't. I mean, yeah. Just make sure you're following the right Brew Jackets on Facebook. There is the newer group is the correct one. See the graphic in the middle for subscribing to our YouTube channel. But yeah, this last week was like actually pretty busy. Let me tweet this real quick. I reposting the live stream. So yeah, there's actually like a little bit of stuff to talk about that isn't some jersey concept. We just want to have some other fun stuff like that. Right after we got some comments here. Charles Stanforth reposted this stream. Hey, thanks, Charles. We appreciate that. If you too would like to leave a comment, you can on YouTube or on X. Just you have to comment on the on Twitter. You have to comment on the like original stream. I don't know if you can comment like on the repost or something like that. It has to be like on the live stream, whatever. Just you can ask us questions. You can derail the whole thing. We don't care. We'll talk about it, whatever it is, within reason.
Yes. But before one last thing, like I've always done last couple shows here, before we get going, be sure to check out the next March of the Union Army, hosted by the Union Blue Soldiers on Monday, October 13th, 2025. R bar 6:00 p.m.
Kevin froze a little bit. He said R bar 6 p.m.
That's right. Union Blue Soldiers, March of the Union Army on Monday, October 13th, 2025. R bar 6:00 p.m. Join Union Blue Soldiers and your fellow Blue Jackets fans as we march on to Nationwide Arena to cheer on the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I will be there as well. It's going to be a fun night. I'm a big fan of the Monday night opening night myself, just because I get Mondays and Tuesdays off, so it's like perfect for me. I'm excited for this. Yeah. I'll probably be like chilling out. I might probably spend the night in Columbus as well too. So maybe we can, if anyone comes out, maybe we'll grab some drinks afterwards or something like that.
Yeah,
have a little fun in the city.
I'm not saying what it is yet, but you do have some fun stuff planned for the march.
Yeah,
it's gonna be pretty cool. So that's just another reason to come, is you're gonna want to see what Hefty Duck has planned for the march. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Charles Stanforth has another comment here. He says, I can't wait. This is my first time ever attending the march, so I'm looking forward to it. Awesome. That's Charles.
Right.
Great to see you there.
That's right, Charles. I like to see this. I like to see this comment right here. Outstanding comment. I'm looking forward to you coming to the march. Thank you for coming. The march that Uni Blue Soldiers does is the best of the best. Every year they do a fun march for the Blue Jackets home opener, and it's a lot of fun. They get about 50 to 100 people, except for the times the Blue Jackets promoted it, like 2021, 2022, 2023. That was closer to 200 people. But anyways, there's a big group of people, of Blue Jackets fans, that show up every year to support the Blue Jackets for the march that Union Blue Soldiers does for the Blue Jackets home opener. So, be like me, Hefty Duck, and Charles, and join the march on October 13th, 2025. R bar, 6 o'clock p.m. See you there.
Be there. It'll be fun.
Anyways.
Yeah, that is going to be October the 13th. It's going to be a busy week.
It's true.
Busy month. October is going to be slamming.
Yeah.
You don't need any invites. You don't need anything special. Just show up, and we'll be kind of chilling. Last time we were kind of hanging out on the patio.
It's true.
And kind of waiting around. And then once we commence the march, the last few times, there's been like cameras up in our faces and stuff like that too. The news
because
they get a kick out of it.
No, because I've gotten people from the Columbus media to show up, and there's been someone from the Blue Jackets that's shown up, because if you've seen it on the scoreboard at a Blue Jackets game within like at least the last 5+ years, that's why, because someone from the Blue Jackets was there, and they took a video of it, and they put it up on the scoreboard. So this is the event that you want to go to. This is the event that you want to go to before the Blue Jackets home opener. Sure, yes, the Blue Jackets, they got the blue carpet and the plaza party and all that other stuff, which is cool, and I've done it, and I like it. But, I'm a bit biased because this is kind of my march here. So, you should totally go to this march before the Blue Jackets home opener on October 13th, 2025, R bar, 6 o'clock p.m. But, so join the march. But anyways, we've spent enough time talking about the march. We'll talk about it more at the end of the show. But for now, we're gonna talk about something else.
Talk about. Do you want to talk about the news of the day first, like the big news of today?
But first, I got something to get. We're gonna do this before we get to that.
Right.
So, Mark Scheig, one of the many Blue Jackets.
That's a cool cup right there.
Yeah. Mark Scheig, one of the many Blue Jackets writers in the Columbus media, recently went to the Dick's Sporting Goods at Polaris Mall. Polaris Mall being a big mall in the Columbus area north of Columbus. It's a good mall. I go there all the time when I'm in Columbus. And he took this picture at the Dick's Sporting Goods at the Polaris Mall, and he said, finally got to check out the new Dick's Sporting Goods at Polaris. Need my CBJ fans. What is wrong with this picture of Boone Jenner and Adam Fantilli? So you got some mannequins with the Boone Jenner jersey and the Adam Fantilli jersey, and they're dressed up like hockey players. Now, what stands out here? Why is Mark posting this picture and criticizing this picture? I'll tell you why. It is because you have hockey mannequins with a Boone Jenner jersey and an Adam Fantilli jersey, but they have hockey sticks that are right-handed. Both Boone Jenner and Adam Fantilli are left-handed shots.
That's pretty funny.
And
they're both right-handed sticks.
Yeah, and they're both right-handed sticks, so they should have left-handed sticks. But but still cool, though.
The fact that they have mannequins on a stand that can stand in like the face-off position like that is really cool.
Yes.
And then they actually got the stick to stay in the gloves. This had to be, I'm sure there's more of these in other either sporting goods, Dick's Sporting Goods, or other places, because like this can't. I mean, it could be custom, I guess. I don't know why it would just be in one shop like this and not other cities, but that's sick. They also got the whole cages, and it almost looks like they're wearing Cooperalls, but that's just because it's black shorts with black. Uh, wait, are they actually wearing? I can't quite tell. It
Nah,
just
that's
looks like they got black
pants.
black shorts and black like socks, but like something's like covering the socks yet, like an extra thing.
Yeah.
I understand why they wouldn't have the Blue Jackets like colors and pants for that. That'd be a little bit much, but still pretty cool.
Yes.
Of course, like leave it to a hockey journalist like Mark Scheid to note, even like think about noticing. Oh wait, that's the wrong.
Yes. Yes.
I love
All
it.
right. So one last thing before we get into the main things, I just want to share this is that got to give a shout out to friend of the show William, as he has lost a lot of weight, and I think that's cool. So shout out to William, friend of the show, for losing some weight, and now he doesn't look like the guy from the Up movie.
Oh yeah, props to you, man. Props to you. William's a pretty tall dude too.
Yeah. So shout out to William, friend of the show, for losing weight. But anyways,
Getting them gains in.
yeah. Let's see here. I know that they did a new. So Charles just said, I know they just did a new one in Dayton, Ohio, and I didn't see any Blue Jacket stuff in that one. And see, yeah, and see, this is the thing that they're getting stuff. Stores in Ohio are getting better about this, but there's still some stores in Ohio that need to get with the times, because there's still some stores in Ohio that don't carry Blue Jacket stuff. And I've seen this complaint before, that there's Blue Jackets fans in different parts of Ohio, not Columbus, not the Columbus area, but they live in different parts of Ohio, and they go to a store and for the most part don't really find Blue Jacket stuff. Sometimes it's like a shirt or something, but for the most part, some stores don't have that. But yet you could find all the Cincinnati teams, the Cleveland teams, Ohio State, and whatnot. So what Charles is saying there is absolutely true. That there is still some stores, around Ohio that don't have Blue Jacket stuff, that do need to get with the times and get some Blue Jacket stuff, because the Blue Jackets are Ohio's hockey team. This past October, I did 2 trips to Columbus. One of them was just Columbus for 2 games, the home opener, and then the game after that. Then the other one was I went to Cincinnati to see the Bengals play, and then 2 Blue Jackets games. And I don't live in Ohio. I don't live in the Blue Jackets TV market. So I'm just so used to just pulling up my computer and watch the Blue Jackets play because I have the hockey package. But when I was when I went to Cincinnati, the Blue Jackets were in Nashville that day, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't use my hockey package because Ohio is Blue Jackets TV market. So I had to watch the game in the hotel room that night, when I was down in Cincinnati. So that's where some places got to be better. It's like, you're in Ohio, you got to support the Blue Jackets. If you're a store in Ohio, you got to have Blue Jacket stuff. Some places don't, but a lot of places do, and they're getting much better about that.
Yeah, I live in I live just on the very bottom of Northeast Ohio. It's considered Northeast Ohio. I'm generally in a lot of the Cleveland networks. Like the local news channels here are, Fox 8 News out of Cleveland and stuff like that. So I am just slightly north of the central area, but I've been noticing in like all the local stores around where I live. Now, to be fair, there is a town near me. It's like 30 minutes away, roughly, that does have a fairly large hockey presence in it, in Worcester, Ohio. We talked about it a little bit the last time Ian was on.
Right.
And so I do see a little bit more hockey stuff, but even in like the town I work in, where there's not really much of a hockey presence, the Dunhams there, the Dicks there, they all have at least something Blue Jackets. It's not like a wide selection. Actually, Dunhams has a better selection than Dicks does,
Yeah.
which I was a little bit surprised, but
Yeah.
they do have decent hockey sticks of both.
Yeah.
And other stuff like that. So I'm seeing it start to spread a little bit.
So yeah, I do have to say this Rally House. That's a real good sports store that's been popping up within the last year or two.
Yeah.
And it's really good. Like they're popping up all over America, and I've been to two of them in Ohio, one in Powell, which is north of Columbus, and then I've been to one that's in the Cincinnati area that's just outside of Cincinnati, and it's like depending on what area they're in, they're going to have all the teams from that area, and they're really good about it. Like the Rally House in the Columbus area, yes, there's like Crew and Ohio State, but then it's all the Cincinnati teams and the Cleveland teams. But then they have a lot of Blue Jacket stuff there. It's like, like it's one of those places where it's like, in some hypothetical scenario, I wouldn't be surprised if I spent like $300 there because there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff there. And then the one down in the Cincinnati area, that was really good too because it had all the Cincinnati stuff. So the Reds, the Bengals, FC Cincinnati, the Bearcats, and then yes, I did see some Blue Jacket stuff down there. So like Rally House is a good store. If you find one in your area, you check that out. The Robo Buck.
What's up, Robo Buck? Welcome in.
Walmart usually has hoodies and t-shirts, and I think Dick's and Heath, east of Columbus, has some good CBJ gear, i.e. jerseys. And and this is another thing too I'd like to say, is that I've been coming to Columbus since 2009. And as the years go by, stores in and around the Columbus area are getting so much better about this. Because it used to be, I can remember a time when if you wanted Blue Jacket stuff, it was the Blue Jacket store. That was it. And you go somewhere else, you go to like a Walmart, a Target, a Meijer, a Dick's.
It's one thing.
And
Ohio State.
Yes.
Everything was just always Ohio State.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yes.
I mean,
you didn't really see a lot of stuff in regards to the Blue Jackets, unless it was the Blue Jacket store. But now, it just keeps getting better and better. Every year, it keeps getting better and better and better and better. And what the Robo Buck here is saying is absolutely true, is that you can now go to different Walmarts and Targets and Meijers and Dick's and just different malls in and around the Columbus area, and you can find a good amount of Blue Jacket stuff there. So stores are absolutely getting better about this.
Yeah, pretty neat to see. Love to see it. Love to see the hockey love spreading as the years go by. It's only getting bigger and bigger every single season, which is great news. As the Blue Jackets are kind of slated to be a little bit on the improving side this year, knock on wood. And in order to do that, and they made quite a few moves. They being Don Waddell, as he is president and general manager for the Blue Jackets.
So
today,
the Blue Jackets, they made a trade to get a goalie, and we're hoping we're going to get Hartsey on here, but wasn't able to come. But they got Ivan Fedotov, a goalie from the Flyers. So honestly, Hefty Duck, he can share his thoughts too. He'll get in here. But the basic idea of what I've read today is that he is a guy that's shown that's good enough to be in the NHL, that can win you some games if you need it. But more likely than not, he's just going to be like a good depth piece so that you don't have to bring someone else up from Cleveland if they're not if you're not ready. The Blue Jackets would rather not do that, so they'll have someone else that they can be more reliable, someone that can more trustworthy, someone that they can count on more than just that. Because I don't even mean this in a disrespectful way, but the truth is we got to be honest with ourselves. Is that in the last 2 or 3 seasons, Elvis Merzlikins has had some moments where he gets hurt or he just he gets sick or just something else happens to where he can't play, and then the Blue Jackets have been left in a tough spot. Like, oh crap, what do you do? Like, because you can't keep playing one guy, because that's essentially what they were doing with Jack Greaves. And Jack Greaves, he earned it. He absolutely deserved it. But at the same time, that little stretch there where they're only playing Jack Greaves, it would have been nice to have someone else that you could have counted on to play just in case you needed it. But they weren't afforded that opportunity. So a guy, so getting Fedotov helps with that situation, so that that you have a guy that you can count on to play if something happens, and that you're not going to have to pull someone up when they're not ready.
Yeah. So, and we talked about this previously in the year and before. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was looking at something completely different for a second. When Tarasov was around, we already talked about, we're like, who's going to be the number one and number two? Could the Blue Jackets possibly carry a third goaltender? Because there's a certain point. I mean, Jack Greaves was guaranteed a non-AHL contract this next season. That doesn't mean that he couldn't have been possibly sent down in an emergency. I don't know. I don't actually know how that works, but it does mean that he would have gotten picked up on waivers almost instantly.
Yeah.
And so you can't risk moving any of those guys if you want to keep them. And so obviously Tarasov gets traded. Well, the Monsters still needed a top goalie as well. And we're going to see Fedotov several times throughout this season. I can almost guarantee it. You can't be healthy 100% of the time. There's going to be someone that needs a break, that gets a minor injury even, yeah. Fedotov, it's really interesting because I was reading earlier. I was reading Jeff Svoboda's wonderful article. Awesome reporter for the Blue Jackets. He was saying that Fedotov was named the KHL's best goaltender and to the first All-Star team in 2021 to 2022 season. So he's like 28 now. So that would have been like 4 years ago or so. So he'd been like mid-20s. So pretty experienced in a really high-level professional league. The KHL is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, I would rank it above the AHL, in my opinion. As far as like just top skill level goes. But like he had an amazing goals against average. He had a 14-10-2 record, 2.0 goals against average, 919 save percentage. Like those are some great numbers. Now, when we talk about last season's numbers, because he played on the Flyers, he played let's see, 2024, 2025. So he had, what was that, 23 games played, 6 wins. So he's got a couple wins, 13 losses and 4 ties with a 3.15 goals against average and 880 save percentage. Save percentage has been going down by a point or two, like almost every single year for the last 8 years straight. But that's not necessarily a great NHL record. Now, that was his second season of getting to play in the NHL a little bit. He has 29 total games, and 26 of those were last year. Let me do that math real quick again. 23 of them were last year. I knew something sounded wrong. And so, like, he has it. This reminds me a lot of Tarasov in some ways. It's like he has this great background. I think Tarasov did better in the NHL than Fedotov has, but he had that great overseas presence, and he comes over in that first season or two. You can see the potential. You can see how great he could be, but yeah, Fedotov is 28 years old, and as far as goalies go, that's fairly young for a goaltender, in my opinion. I've been looking at Marc-Andre Fleury. Did you see that Marc-Andre Fleury is going to do a PTO with the Penguins, play one last game? That's so cool. Really neat, so he can retire as that. So even in so in 2022, Fedotov helps win the. Oh, he led the Cup to the 2022 Gagarin Cup Championship. So he has experience winning. I don't know. I mean, there's still potential for this guy to be in the NHL, but we're gonna see him start on for the Monsters. So the Blue Jackets must feel pretty comfortable sending him down through waivers, because they only gave up a 6th-round pick in 2026 draft.
Yeah.
But you don't want to just give up picks for nothing.
Yeah.
The other thing is, Fedotov doesn't necessarily have a two-way contract. He used to, but at this moment, he has a cap hit of $3.275, so $3,275,000. Now, when he gets sent down to the AHL, he's still making that amount. So anyway, I saw something else too about how only like $775,000 is going to count, or he only is going to get. The Blue Jackets are only responsible for paying him like $750,000 or something this season. So that's nice. The Jackets have plenty of cap. I'm not worried about the cap space at all. It's just kind of an expensive like AHL goalie, but that's good because this goalie's looking to get into the NHL more, and the Blue Jackets need someone who can come in a little bit, but they have two guys who are going to be fighting for that first spot this season. Right. So that's kind of my thoughts on the Fedotov thing. I'm a little bit relieved that there is like a third guy there, personally. Yeah, big one. Since Hartsey is not here, but he did just leave us a comment on YouTube. He says Briere Masterclass. So Dan Briere being the general manager of the
I see it.
Philadelphia Flyers. So
our Zach, Zach. Of course, Zach. The news came out today, and I'm in a group chat with a bunch of people on Twitter, and Zach's one of those people, and he's a Blue Jackets guy, and he in a joking way he tagged Hartsey in a post, and it's like, hey Hartsey, what happened the last time Philadelphia sent the Blue Jackets a goalie in a trade? And of course, if you know what Zach was trying to get at there, which I do, which is that the last time the Flyers sent a goalie to the Blue Jackets in a trade was Sergei Bobrovsky. And it's easy to say now, looking back on it, that was not a very good trade for the Flyers to do. Very dumb and stupid for them to do such a thing. But in the end, it was a good trade for the Blue Jackets, and it worked out for the Blue Jackets because Sergei Bobrovsky was an outstanding goalie for the Blue Jackets. And, Sergei Bobrovsky had 2 Vezinas with the Blue Jackets, and Sergei Bobrovsky helped the Blue Jackets get to the playoffs 5 times, and
now
helped knock out the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, he's a big reason why the Blue Jackets went on a 16-game winning streak during the 2016-2017 season, and why they won 51 games that year, and just so much more. So that's just kind of the fun, silly inside joke that Zach was just kind of doing there is, hey, remember when the Flyers, gave another goalie to the Blue Jackets that turned out to be good, and he's jokingly saying, "Hey, look, the Flyers are going to do it again. You're going to give another good goalie to the Blue Jackets."
Hartsey does chime in here though in the comments. He says Fedotov is no Bob. I get that.
To be determined. To be determined.
But, we have another comment here. It was a little bit from earlier. Charles Stanforth said, as a Bengals fan, you'll appreciate this. Talking to Kevin here. The Kansas City Chiefs are 0-2.
And your, that's right. And your Cincinnati Bengals are 2-0. Hooray! 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 Let's go! Woo!
I have no comment about the dumpster fire in Cleveland. No comment. I have nothing to say about it. I really don't. I don't even want to think about it. But the Guards swept the White Sox.
Yeah. So.
Fuck you, Chicago.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, Illinois guy over there.
If I got to be honest here, I know I like the Reds and everything, but if I am a bit biased towards the Cubs in a positive way because I grew up in a family where 99% of my family likes the Cubs, so like I kind of have a little soft spot for the Cubs in my heart.
Better than the White Sox, much better.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this, and then we can move on. But when you grow up you're in Illinois, and you grow up in the Chicago area, like I have and still live there, is that you look at the sports coverage and you just look at how teams are kind of viewed or teams kind of treated, and it's basically like Cubs and Bears get all of the attention, and then like there's the White Sox. It's just like, you're kind of there. No one really pays attention to you, and like you go to the sports stores up by me, or just sports stores, or just stores in general. Like, yeah, there's White Sox stuff there, but like 9 times out of 10, it's mostly Cubs stuff in terms of baseball. And then, some Blackhawks and Bulls stuff too. But like in terms of baseball, where I live, it's like it's all Cubs. And the Cubs get like all of the attention. And like I can remember back in 7th grade in 2005 when the White Sox won the World Series. And it's like, some people were excited about it, but it was just like basically, for the most part, no one really said anything about it. And then when the Cubs finally did win that World Series in 2016, oh my goodness, Cubs stuff was everywhere. Everyone was excited and hyped, like, oh my God, the Cubs won the World Series. Let's go. Yeah. Because that's just kind of how it is, People do like the White Sox, but you're just kind of, you're kind of stuck in the Cubs shadow. Most people like the Cubs. That's just how it is, And Bulls, yes, people do like the Bulls too, but, most of the attention goes to the Cubs and Bears. That's just how it is in my 33 years of life living in the Chicago area, which is the Cubs and the Bears get like 99% of the attention. Anyways, that's your little I guess you could say what you're not expecting that from a Ohio themed sports show, but when you live in the Chicago area, I know this stuff. So that's your little, I guess, history lesson of what it's like in the Chicago area in regards to sports coverage. But anyways, that's besides the point. So on to the next thing, which is the Blue Jackets sent their prospects to the annual prospect tournament up in Buffalo. And the Blue Jackets played 3 games. They won 2 of them. Both the games they won were both in overtime. And I'm going to have some clips that we're going to play from that. So, here, I'll put this up. Okay. First things first. Here we have Kaskinen with an awesome wide open goal. But the thing that I want you to pay attention here is, I'm going to pause it so you can see it. So, right. Okay. So, He's kind of in the shooting position, going to make like he's going to shoot it, and at the last moment, he's going to pass it over for the one-timer. Score. Just I'll play, and boom. And another thing is, I don't know if you can see it, but he's going to get the puck right here, and then he's going to do a little quickly touch pass and to quickly get it to him, right back to him, and then Keskinen's going to be over here and shoot and score. Bam. So you'll see it again. See it again. There's going to be the touch pass. Quick, shoot, score. So pretty cool here. Hefty Duck, anything to say here?
No, I like to see our young guns out there. I mean, that only happens because they were pushed so far up on that forecheck,
Yeah.
and still, because it almost looked like part of the team was going for. It almost looked like part of like the Sabres team was almost going to go for like a line change or something. Because look at 94, they're like not even concerned. They're like, oh, it's 2-on-2 back there. Like our guys will do it. Well, like it's 2-on-2. It's an even number. Then they screw it up.
Yeah.
So just props to the young guns for being, aware, smart enough, hockey smart enough to like stay pressured up and be aggressive like that. It's cool. I like to see it.
Yes. Now, the clips that I have other clips to show, but what I did see following it on Twitter is in the game, all three of these games were, well, no, two of the three games were competitive. The first one, they lost 8-2 to the Devils prospects. And it was not very good. He scored 2 goals, which is good, but everything else that was not good. But
the Devils have had a pretty good prospect pool for quite a while too.
That's true too. So you know what? That's not necessarily bad. So no shame in that. But the 2 games that they did play were good competitive games. The 2 games that they did win were good competitive games between both teams' prospects. And in the end, in big moments when you needed someone to get a goal to step it up, the Blue Jackets prospects were there to step it up. And that's what you like. That's what you like to see. Because if you think about it, this is essentially like your first shot of like showing what you got, because a lot of these guys will be going to training camp after this. So this is like essentially your first shot to show us what you got, to say, hey, I did this and I look good. Maybe consider me for, making a spot on the team. So positive momentum here, and see if you can keep, if you're a guy that played good in this tournament, positive momentum and see if you can keep this going and play good in training camp and the preseason games, and maybe earn yourself a spot on the team.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that more too when we talk a little bit more about like today's game as well, because there's some prospects here that have been in the system for quite a while. I'm looking at like Tyler Peddle, but there's also some prospects here that aren't even officially on the team, part of the like signed contracts or anything like that, and we'll talk a little bit more about them here in a little bit. But I'm specifically talking about Sema. What is his name? Nicholas Sema.
But
we'll
before we get to that, I have one more clip I'd like to show here, which is what really, it's a good play all around. The Blue Jackets really earned this goal here. But what really stands out to me is you're going to have a guy right in front of the net, like right here. And it's one of those plays where you get right by there, and it's one of those jam plays where you could have just jammed it in the net, try to jam it in the net and score that way. And if you'd done that, hey, that's okay. It's understandable. But he didn't do that. Instead, he made it look like that he was going to maybe jam it in. But at the last moment, it's kind of a little quickly touch pass over to this side of the ice, and then you're going to shoot and score. Come on, Bessie. Turn that off too. Here we go. Boom. And it's Jordan Dumais who scores on it. And
The timing of that was so good.
yeah,
The way that the puck started off on the outside edge and was passed into like right next to the net, like directly next to it. And I'm not sure. So is that Dumais passing it to the guy?
Dumais
Dumais is the one shooting it.
He's
Okay.
going to want to in this area.
So 53 here. I wish I knew better names, but I was trying to look for the box scores. I couldn't find anything, any info on it right now. But this pass is held perfectly. He didn't try to do too much with it. He didn't try to get fancy with it. But because the puck was held next to the net, look at what the defense does here. They all crash the net, which is what they should probably be doing. But thinking quick on his feet, he passed it away from the net. Then everyone's caught off guard, and they're turning to look, and half of them have their backs like turned to the puck. So they're exploiting the weakness in the Sabres defense right here. I know both teams were pretty high scoring in this game, so I get it. But very just once again talking about the hockey IQ and then the smarts of these young guys, because they're all competitively athletic. They all are probably somewhat on similar pages right now, being close in age and whatever. But that's what's going to set you apart as a younger player. Because I was just watching the thing about who's the kid from San Jose. Why am I blanking so hard? Macklin Celebrini. I was watching a thing on him, and that dude is so smart on the puck. He's so young, but his smarts are what gets him through. And that, anyway, a little bit of a rant there, but I'm big on that with this group.
No, and if you think about it, it's kind of, right here it is. I do like the defense that Buffalo has, because it's a common thing where you do see guys that get the puck and then they kind of go around the boards and then they try and get a quick shot on the goalie to either score or maybe you get a rebound off of that. So what you're doing is you have these two guys right here, and you're taking that away because you're not shooting that because it's going to get blocked. Then you have a guy over here right in front of the net. So really right here, maybe, and even that's pushing it because the two guys could pick it off. But if you could squeeze it through here, then yeah, you could have something. But honestly, there's not a lot going on there. So good defense. But then this is what Hefty Duck is talking about, is that so you have these guys, they're taking away the shot. So then he kind of skates around that, passes it to this guy. And so now all these guys say, okay, well, I better get right in front of that, put a stop to that. He's coming here. He's kind of going there. They're like, oh, this guy's going to try and jam it in the net. No, I'm going to try and stop it. But then he just quickly makes a little quick touch pass over here and gets it over the other side of the net. And Jordan Dumais is going to shoot and score. And honestly, this is kind of a hard shot for him because he's a right-handed shot on the right side, and it's kind of an awkward angle for him to shoot it. Like if that's a left-handed shot on the right side, that's an easy shot, goal. But for Jordan Dumais, he's a right-handed shot on the right side, and you watch him shoot it, it's kind of an awkward angle for him to shoot it. So credit to him to getting that shot off and scoring the goal, because that was kind of a hard shot for him.
Yeah. Very, very good. They don't have the score up here at this point, but on the last one, they had tied it up 5-5. Is this goal prior to, or was it scored after the last one you showed?
I think this is before. I don't know. But
there was they were tied like 5-5 at one point. So there's just so many goals in these games. And you'll have that too. Goalie prospects tend to need a little more time to cook than some of the skaters do. That's why you don't see them entering the NHL till like in their 20s.
Yeah. But watch this little touch pass right here. Wow. Some guys, it's like, I don't know how you did that, because that's kind of a tough play there, but some people do it. But anyways, now out of this Sims guy, this is a guy who is not a Blue Jackets prospect. Not a Blue Jackets prospect, but he got invited to this. And this is a guy that really stepped up, that really shined, because every time I check my phone on Twitter, and you follow this stuff on Twitter, this is a guy's name that kept popping up because he scored a goal. He did this, he did that, he did something good. So like that was cool to see, and I know Hefty Duck's been wanting to talk about that, so we'll get him in there and he can talk about it.
Yeah, no, it was really neat to see. Okay, so today, actually, let's just talk about the whole game against Pittsburgh. If you got a minute, I unfortunately a lot of these I had to get secondhand accounts of because I have a job and I do shit a lot. So I was a little bit busy this afternoon doing some fun stuff, but the Blue Jackets did win. This was their second win of the Prospects Challenge. They won 5-4 in overtime against Pittsburgh. So once again, pretty high scoring game with these guys. That gave the Blue Jackets a 2-1 record with the one loss to I had to yawn real quick, sorry. Yes, if you do see me many times, if people out there who are watching the live or watching the video, if you see my camera go off, yeah, it's usually because I'm yawning or something like that. I'm not tired. I just have to when the show starts. My face gets random itches, and I have to yawn every 2 minutes. It's so stupid. Anyway, so yeah, so there was a couple of fights today that were pretty neat that I saw some reposts on. I just exited out of it. It was the CBJ Center at the CBJ Center had a couple of these videos of some fights here. I thought it was them. Maybe it was. What's the other CBJ? See if it comes back up. Oh yeah, CBJ's Prospects. Sorry, this is probably one of my favorite Blue Jackets accounts because they focus solely on prospects, and this is honestly where I get a lot of my news about the prospects because like I just don't like they have the inside look and all this. So anyway, CBJ Prospects at CBJ Prospects on X had a couple fight videos here. Let me try to find them real quick. Wow, they posted a lot. Well, it makes sense there being a prospects thing. So in the very first fight, it was Tyler Peddle against man, I didn't even actually see who it was. Let me see. You know what? I might just share this real quick. Share screen. Okie doke. So this is kind of a poor format because, well, I mean, it is what it is. It was recorded on a cell phone, so it's a kind of a straight up and down video. And can I full screen this? I can't. It's not gonna make much of a difference. Let's put it back over here. So, anyway, this is Tyler Peddle, and watch what happens here. This is a very, very rare occurrence because if this happens, a player will get a misconduct. So he's wailing on him. I don't know how long the fight was going before the video. If CBJ Prospects like had to take like time to get there, get it out or whatever. But if you notice, Peddle immediately is ripping on that jersey, as one should and does in a hockey fight. Well, many of you are probably aware that on the back of the real jerseys, the actual authentic jerseys, there is what's called a fight strap. It's like a little button thing, like it's elastic, kind of tucks in. It's connected to somewhere on their like the backside of their shorts or pads or whatever. So the reason for that strap is because if your jersey comes off, like I just said like 2 seconds ago, you will get a game misconduct. And the reason for that is because players like Ty Domi used to, when they would get into a fight, they would pretty much just like let the other player rip their jersey off, because as soon as you don't have the jersey on, you have a little bit more freedom of movement, and the other player can't grab your jersey to fight with you. You can grab their jersey. They don't have anything to really grab a hold of then. And so it skews the fight. It's really, really unfair. Anyway, Tyler Peddle, I love to see this, man. We've talked about him a little bit ago. probably kind of getting towards the end of his prospect kind of days, and will be moving up the ladder or something at some point soon. And yeah, I just like to see it. And you can tell the guy from Pittsburgh, from the Penguins, knows it too, because he just kind of like lets his jersey fall to the ice. He doesn't keep it with him. He's like, I'm getting game misconduct. I'm done. I'm getting out of here. So, and possibly strategic, because like when someone's out there skating around, you may be able to see like their jersey, like if they bend over a little bit, you may be able to see that it was disconnected. And maybe Pedal was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna take advantage of that," because they're both gonna get penalties for fighting. That one dude's gonna be gone for like the rest of the game. So I just thought this was interesting. Good fight, great video from CBJ Prospects. And then there was another one here as well, a little further up. So this is Bolton. That is the name of the Blue Jackets player. Not entirely sure who is who here, but in both of these fights, there was gives him a good right there, another good right there, hits him in the side of the head, the back of the head, boom, takes him down to the ice. Both of these fights were won by the Blue Jackets players, guaranteed. And as we're seeing out of the current Blue Jackets player Matthew Olivier, you're not just an enforcer anymore. You're not just a guy who throws hands anymore. You have to be able to play. You have to be able to do your thing on the ice. And personally, I don't really know much about Bolton, but I do really. I'm kind of a Tyler Pedal fan, because I've watched him for last like 2 years or so now, and pretty solid guy, all around solid player. So wanted to talk about those guys a little bit real quick before we get over to the game-winning goal. This was posted on the Blue Jackets page itself. Okay, doke. So currently it is 4-4. This is overtime. It looks like they are a few minutes into it. As time's winding down, there's just over 3 minutes left to go. Pass back and forth. Boom. Nicholas Sima. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I didn't get to hear it yet. Literally exactly at 3 minutes, gets the game-winning goal. It's kind of a dirty goal. It's not like super pretty, but it was really well done. It looked like it went 5-hole between the goalie's legs, and it was a nice backhand
at the end
goal.
That's what does it for me, is that, like, okay, you kind of get a weak shot on that, but it's better than nothing. But then right there at the end, that little backhand right there, that's a hard shot to do, because it's a backhand, but also it's kind of an awkward angle for him. He doesn't really have a lot to shoot at there. So for him to being able to do that with that kind of awkward angle there with not a lot to shoot at the backhand and get it in and score a goal, that's pretty good.
So this guy, Nicholas Sima, as mentioned probably 5 times already, I don't remember. He's a free agent invite. So this is not a PTO. I mean, it's probably kind of like a PTO, because there's a prospect. It's not for the NHL. So, and you can see they're wearing their new 25-year anniversary patches and whatnot. So this guy, I'm gonna stop sharing real quick. I gotta yawn again, dude. Sorry. Hey. So Sima, he spent last year. He played with the Saginaw. Dude, I forget what their name is in the OHL. And in this tournament, he scored twice, and I believe that would make him almost like he's the top scorer with 3 goals in 3 games. Granted, in today's game, Jordan Dumais was a healthy scratch. Dumais. I don't know. But yeah, he was a healthy scratch today, along with Nolan Lalonde, goalie prospect. It was said that Dume was healthy scratch just for precautionary reasons. I don't think he has an injury, but he showed himself off. He's pretty well known of a well-known prospect of the Blue Jackets right now. So he doesn't have as much to prove. Maybe like he's really good. We know he's really good.
Yeah.
Keep him healthy. And Evan Gardner showed up today to play goalie, I believe. Well, because Nolan Lalonde was a scratch, and Lalonde got the win on Saturday night as well too. So it's good to see these goalie prospects coming up through, because that is one thing. While there are two very talented goalkeepers on the Blue Jackets right now, that you cannot just bank on that for the next 5 years, 10 years. You never know what could happen. Currently, right? Well, we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but like even like looking at like Chinikov requesting a trade and stuff like that, you can't bank on that a player is going to want to be there forever. You can't bank on that they're going to be amazing forever or what. So pretty happy to see these guys coming up through the ranks. Did you have Oh, okay. I have some better names here real quick. So Tyler Peddle. Oh, it's also a really neat thing. Tyler Peddle got to play against Brady Peddle, his brother. So that was pretty neat. So Tyler Peddle was fighting against Quinn Buchanan. That's how I'm assuming his name's pronounced. It looks like Buchesne. So I'm assuming Buchanan. And then Ryder Bolton was the Blue Jackets player who had a fight in the second period. Luca Pinelli, 5-point game. I'm sorry. Luca Pinelli's 5 points total for the tournament. And then Simo was the highest, had the most goals. So pretty neat. You have anything more you want to add about the Prospects Challenge from this last weekend? There's one more game left tomorrow, but it's between like Pittsburgh and Buffalo or something like that. It's like the last. They're done playing.
Yeah, it does not affect the Blue Jackets. All right, so now on to the next part of the show, which is we kind of have a general idea of what Adam Fantilli's contract could potentially look like. So, we've talked about this before, that starting this past July, Adam Fantilli is now officially allowed to negotiate a contract with the Blue Jackets, because after this season, he will need a new contract. And the Blue Jackets were going to try and get him a new contract sometime in the summertime before the season started. And Don Waddell has talked about how he was going to meet with Adam Fantilli's agent to try and get something going. Well, Don Waddell did meet with Adam Fantilli's agent, and both of them and they decided that they were not going to do a contract extension right now, which is understandable, because you look at Adam Fantilli. He just had, it's like he's only played 2 seasons. It's kind of a small sample size. But at the same time, you look at the season that he just had, 31 goals. Ridiculously good, especially for a second-year player. He's only one of 2 players in Blue Jackets history to get at least 30 goals in his second NHL season. You're doing something like Rick Nash does, that means you're pretty good. And then on top of that, from January until the end of the season, he really stepped it up. Cooked, dominated, played really good. Because when Sean Monahan gets hurt, that was a oh crap moment. That was an oh crap moment, because your number 1 center, who had been playing awesome all season long, especially on that line with Dmitry Voronkov and Kirill Marchenko, that was a oh crap moment. What do we do now? You don't have Sean Monahan. What do you do now? And that was like a situation that essentially the Blue Jackets were forced to put Adam Fantilli in a position that I don't necessarily think that they were ready to do yet, which is put Adam Fantilli in the number one center spot. I do believe they eventually would have done this, but not under these circumstances. And yet, they put him in that first line center spot. Maybe, not how they wanted to do it. They did it anyways, and Adam Fantilli shined. He really stepped it up. There was really no issue. Like, yes, you didn't have Sean Monahan, and yes, that hurt the Blue Jackets, but it really wasn't that bad. It could have been a lot worse than what it actually was, because Adam Fantilli just really stepped it up and shined. In that time period, he had 2 hat tricks, one in Toronto, one in New York against the Rangers. Those games, he was outstanding. He was dominant. He absolutely cooked both the New York Rangers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. You look back at those games, and those are big reasons why the Blue Jackets won those games, because of Adam Fantilli. And then, of course, Sean Monahan comes back. Adam Fantilli goes back down to the second line center spot, and he's awesome. Because he played in that first line spot, I think that benefited from him, so that when he moved back down to that second line center spot, he was even better, because he had that positive experience of playing first line center. And he just took it to a whole new level. And then on top of that, Adam Fantilli, in his final 7 games of the season, he scored 6 goals. So Adam Fantilli, just ridiculously good season. So from, Adam Fantilli's agent standpoint, I can see why he said, no, we're not going to do a contract deal right now, because you're betting on the fact that he just had a good season, and more likely than not, he's probably going to have another one, which means that he's going to get more money. Of course, there is a risk to that, because, some hypothetical scenario, Adam Fantilli could have not as a good season compared to what he did last year, and then the Blue Jackets could turn around and say, yeah, but look what the season he just had, and then, he gets less money because of that. But then on the flip side of that, it's like, well, he could have another good season, and then Adam Fantilli and his agent can go to the Blue Jackets and say, hey, look at the season I just had, more money. And in that scenario, he would be completely right and justified to say such a thing like that. So the Blue Jackets, they tried getting a contract done now, but as of right now, it's not going to happen. And it's understandable. So I'm not ripping on the Blue Jackets. I'm not ripping on Adam Fantilli or his agent. I get it. That's just how it is. We'll Hefty Duck will get you in here. We'll say some stuff, and then I want to share some stuff from a recent article that Aaron Portzline had about Adam Fantilli and the contract situation.
Yeah. Just had to look over and make sure I wasn't muted at the time. It definitely has happened before. So I want to compare Adam Fantilli to other players that had similar stats as him for this last season. So if we're going to sort by points, of course, Zach Werenski, number 1, followed by Marchenko, Johnson, Monahan, and then there's Fantilli. So first of all, Kent Johnson is going to need a pay raise at some point. His performance is very good right now. I mean, he had 3 more points than Fantilli in 14 less games. Granted, I believe that Fantilli was feeding some of those goals to him when they were on the same line, I believe. But yeah. So just looking at Kent Johnson's very first real contract, not the ELC. He at one point was signed to it was just last season he was signed like a 3-year contract worth 1.8 million cap hit. for 3 years. Kent Johnson's very young. I believe he is 22 years old. So Fantilli is a little bit younger than that, but they have to start looking at his talent. I mean, he's 20 years old. He's not 22. He's a little bit younger, but he's going to be an RFA in 2026. So some other players that are near Fantilli. I mean, Sean Monahan, once again, him and Kent Johnson both had fewer games and had a couple more points. But looking at like Dmitry Voronkov, James Van Riemsdyk. So Voronkov, he's making $4.18 million a year, and he's a little bit older once again, but it was not a very long contract. This one was also just through the 2026 season. So short contract, but fat stack.
Yeah.
I think that for Voronkov, that was a good move because he's a little bit older. His play style and his expectations shouldn't be as random, but you still a little bit of a risk because you don't know how he's going to work out long term yet.
Right.
But the chemistry he has is great. Keep him around. Kirill Marchenko, one of the top goal scorers for the Blue Jackets. He had 74 points, 31 goals, which tied for most goals with Marchenko. You know who that was? Adam Fantilli. They both had 31 goals, which was insane this last year. So he's making. Actually, Kirill Marchenko is making a little bit less than Dmitry Voronkov. He's making $3.85 million per year. Let's see. JVR, I said. Where is JVR? I think he's not making. Wait. He's not still on the. What are you doing, Puckpedia? Where is this guy at? Is he on the IR on Puckpedia still? One buried at the top. Am I crazy? Van Riemsdyk. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just either blind or not seeing it right now. But anyway, I can't tell you right now because I'm blind. That's so weird. It has like everything else. Is he non-rostered right now or something? Or player, roster, reserve, non-roster. I'm taking crazy pills, man. It's whatever. So let's look at Cole Sillinger, who he's in a couple years, has a couple years experience under his belt, but he's a very, very young player. He's 22 years old, so he's the same age as Kent Johnson. His cap hit right now is $2.25 million a year that's through 2025-26. So it's the next 2 seasons yet. So realistically, if Adam Fantilli was just any other player, and I'm not saying that Kent Johnson or Cole Sillinger or Marchenko are just any other player. They're all very talented guys, high draft picks and whatnot. But specifically Adam Fantilli, a person with a skill ceiling higher than anyone the Blue Jackets have ever had. And I don't know. I don't see offering him 2.25. I don't see offering him 3.85. I don't see offering him a 2-year or 3-year contract. I could maybe see a 3-year, like a really fat 3-year contract, kind of like with Voronkov. Let's get this dude paid. Let's see if he'll be an RFA after that contract. Then anyway, so he's still restricted, and then have him really prove himself through those first 3 years, because it's very, very unlikely. This guy's top notch training, top notch athlete all around, trained throughout the whole summer and whatnot, I'm sure. But I mean, looking at the top highest players this next year, the are going to be Sean Monahan. I'm sorry, this is skater. This is forwards. Because I'm not going to talk about Berensky or Provorov, receivers, and whatnot. Anyway, Monahan, Coyle, they're both making a little over $5 million. Dmitry Voronkov, 4.18. There's no like huge $10 million contracts, $8 million contracts. Unfortunately, the Blue Jackets lost one of those, and the other was traded to Montreal.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I see giving him a Kirill Marchenko like contract.
Yes.
3.5 to 4 for 3 to 4 years. Get him some money, get him paid, and then evaluate that contract at the end, because that gives him an opportunity too. Because if he truly believes in himself, his agent believes in him, and everything like that, that gives him the opportunity then to make even more after that. Because if you get locked into like a 5-year contract, I mean, yeah, he'd still only be like 25 at the end of that, 26, but I don't know. I guess at 25, 26, that's when you would probably want him to sign those 8-year contracts. Or sorry, is it going to be 8 or it has to be 7 now?
No. So this is the time to do it. If you want 8, you need to do it before the summer of 2026. This is it. So like Adam Fantilli, this is his chance. If he wanted an 8-year deal with the Blue Jackets, he has to do it now.
I think
Because
it's a bad idea.
well, if he wants it, he has to do it now. Because come summer of 2026, that 8-year deal will be gone, because then the new CBA will kick in, and then the longest you will go will be 7. So just any player, not just an Adam Fantilli, but any player, that if you want that 8-year deal, you need to do it now. Because once summer 2026 comes, you will not be able to do that. It'll be 7. So you only got so much time to do the 8-year deal if that's what you want. Another thing that I've seen this pop up a little bit on Twitter, is that if we look at what happened up in Minnesota, they have one of their young up and coming star talents who has the potential to be a star, Marco Rossi, and he was kind of in a similar spot that Adam Fantilli is in. Is that, he's a young up and coming player, and he's shown that he can be a good player for their respective teams. And they were negotiating a deal, and they went back and forth, and eventually Minnesota came to an agreement of 3 years, $5 million. And then I've seen some people say, well, maybe that's something that, like a comparable deal to something that Adam Fantilli could do, where it's 3 years, $5 million, something like that. Me personally, if you do an 8-year deal, I'm fine with that. But I think it's probably what you've said, Hefty Duck. They're probably going to do what they did with Kent Johnson and Kirill Marchenko, or maybe like a Dante Fabro, where you give him like a 3-4 year deal, and a little bit more money, but not too crazy expensive. And it's like, here you go, show us what you got. But if you do it more and show that you can do it consistently, then yes. No, but if you you've shown us what you got, but here's another contract, and if you can show us that you can do it consistently, then we're just gonna make a big contract where we just throw like a ridiculous amount of money at you and say, okay, here you go. And that's essentially what the Wild did with their kind of young up and coming player in Marco Rossi. And I've seen that people bring that with Adam Fantilli. Oh, maybe that's a deal that he could get, like Marco Rossi, which is like 3 years, $5 million, something like that.
Well, looking at the contract history of the Blue Jackets' currently highest paid player, Zach Werenski. I mean, the go-to all-star for how many years? He's making the big bucks. He's like I said, currently the highest paid one on the team.
Yeah.
Werenski came into the NHL at the age of 19 and signed like an ELC of $925,000, and which is pretty good for an ELC. Now, when he was 21 years old, the season between 2018-2019 to the 2019-2020, he got an offer for a 3-year contract at $5 million a year.
Yeah.
Granted, defensemen sometimes might get paid a little bit more because they have to do a little bit more work. There's less of them, and they just actually have to play more of the game. So you really need to get those really fit guys who can do that, like Zach Werenski. But similar kind of vibes here, where you have this like guy who has a skill ceiling that you don't know yet. You don't know how good he possibly can be yet. And but you got to lock him in. Got to give him some sort of contract. So at the age of 21, he signed. Zach Werenski signed the $5 million contract. That season, he was 22. So it's between the seasons he signed it. If anyone's out there, look at Puckpedia. So then, when he was 24 years old, because that's like about right where Fantilli is right now. He's 21, going on 21, and you get him those first couple years in the NHL to really show what he can do. Zach Werenski did that, and boom, what they do? They doubled it. They went from $5 million. Now he is making $9.58 million a year, and he is locked into a contract that is let's see, he's going to be a UFA in 2028. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was an 8-year contract, I believe. Yeah. So, but the 8-year contract came after, so at that point, Zach Werenski, he would spend a lot of time in Columbus already. He had friends and stuff here. He was pretty much locked into the team himself. Because what would shoot yourself in the foot if you were as talented as Adam Fantilli? Let's say they offer you $8 million a year for the next 8 years. Maybe you're being overpaid those first couple years, but you're definitely going to be underpaid those last few years.
Yes.
And so if you can get like a $5 million contract, if Don Waddell came out tomorrow and was like, hey, we signed a 3 or 4 year contract, $5 million annual average value for Adam Fantilli, I'd be like, that's fantastic. That's great. I wouldn't have any problem with that at all. If he came out tomorrow and was like, hey, we're giving Adam Fantilli $7.5 million for the next 3 years, I'd be like, dude, that's a lot. No offense at all to Fantilli, fantastic player. Do what you gotta do to keep him, but that's a lot of money. That I just don't think is at the moment just where he's at. You got to be a little bit cautious. So looking at and to be fair though too, Zach Werenski and all these other contracts I'm talking about were done by a completely different general manager, and what his vision for the team was compared to Don Waddell. And Don Waddell has a pretty solid vision for himself, because I do want to talk about Chinakhov here in a little while yet too, because that's been the rumor swirling and this and that, and now that there's a backup goaltender, now the attention's going to be on that a little bit too. But that's pretty much what I would recommend in this situation, or what I expect is somewhere around $5 million for the next 3 years.
See,
that would be perfect.
And I can see this is that I've seen this is that, of course, you bring up the thing of if you said, if the Blue Jackets did 3 years, just over $7 million, you'd be like, ooh, that's a little expensive, but I get it. You got to do it. You got to do it. I've been reading some just different hockey articles recently, and that's what Minnesota's in right now. They're in that situation right now with Kirill Kaprizov, where he's their best player. He's one of the best players in hockey, and he's their best player on the Wild. And they're essentially in that same situation that you just described there, where it's like they're going to have, how much? Ooh, that's expensive. But it's one of those things where you don't necessarily like it, but you have to do it and just, accept it for what it is. And they're in that same exact situation where they're like, well, we may have to pay him just a bit more money than perhaps we want, but you need to do it. You need to get it done. So that's what Minnesota's facing, and if the Blue Jackets were in a situation like that, I would feel the same exact way. I'd be like, ooh, that's a bit much. That's a bit expensive, but I get it because you got to do it. It's one of those things that you had to do it. The Bengals, not that long ago, they're in a similar situation with Joe Burrow. Like, they had to, I get it. I'm not saying don't sign him. They did, but they had to pay him a $275 million contract. And like football, they make a lot of money, but even for football, that's kind of expensive, But but again, it's like one of those things where it's like, ooh, that's expensive. But you kind of have to do it because you really don't have any other choices. And that's just how it goes sometimes in sports, is that you're going to have to pay a contract sometimes where maybe you're not necessarily fond of, and you're like, ooh, that's a bit expensive. But you have to do it. And that's just, how it is.
Yeah, and then you have like the Browns, who are just going to throw money at the wrong thing time after time after time after time.
Yeah. And that's
Anyway.
another thing too. But that's a good point there, is that in sports in general, you really have to be careful with your money.
It's a gamble.
It is a gamble. You can't just be willy-nilly and just throw it out there. Oh, $1 million here, 2 million here, $1 million here, 3 million, blah, 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 whatever. Like, you can't do that, because if you're wrong, it backfires, and then it's like, well, man, we really need this guy, but, we can't afford it because we were too stupid with our money. So it's like, for all these guys, whether it be, a Joe Burrow and Adam Fantilli or whatnot, like, you really do have to be careful with your money and be smart about it. That if you're doing this, you better hope that you're doing this correctly and it works out right, because you don't want to be in a situation, like the Browns, unfortunately, where you paid them a crap ton of money and you're stuck with it because no one wants to touch that contract. You would rather be in a position to where at the time you gave a guy a big contract, and you're like, ooh, that's kind of expensive. That seems a bit high. Would rather not do that, but you did it anyways. And then look back on it and say, yeah, that was kind of expensive at the time, but in the end, it worked out. Smart move. That's what you want to do, because sports in general, like, you really have to be careful with your money. You have to be smart with it. You can't afford to be stupid with it. You have to be smart.
Yeah, and I was just mentioned his name, so here's a risky gamble for possibly a new team. Was there anything else about Adam Fantilli you wanted to talk about yet?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, well, Aaron Portzline had a good article I read recently that talks about this, and I kind of want to share some of it. So, it said, Fantilli extension will wait. The Blue Jackets were planning to negotiate a contract extension with the 20-year-old center Adam Fantilli this summer, with an outside shot of signing him to a multi-year extension before he plays the third and final year of his entry-level contract. But that's off the table now. We had no negotiations at all, Waddell said. I spoke with Fantilli's agent, Pat Brisson, last week, and there's no hurry from their end. It won't get done before the season. None of this should be a concern for Blue Jackets fans. Fantilli had a breakout sophomore season, 31 goals, and playing in all 82 games. He did not look out of place as the Blue Jackets' #1 center when Monahan went down with the wrist injury. We've talked about that. Played good when Sean Monahan went out. Brisson is probably thinking, if he gets back-to-back good years, we'd have more of a history to know where he's going to fall in line from a salary standpoint, Waddell said. Right now, we'd have a hard time, which is true. You don't necessarily know what you would do. If you have another season or two, you can have a better understanding of what's going on there and what kind of money that you should be giving Adam Fantilli. Put it another way, if Fantilli continues to ascend as a highly competitive, highly proficient two-way center capable of hanging impressive offensive numbers. He's going to move himself into a different stratosphere. He could quickly become the Blue Jackets' highest paid player, which is objectively true. I could absolutely see that if Fantilli keeps playing good and keeps going on the trajectory that he has, he's going to be the most expensive player in Blue Jackets history. I could see it. That was almost Artemi Panarin. The Blue Jackets offered him an 8-year, $12 million deal in 2019, which at that time would have made him the most expensive contract in Blue Jackets history. Obviously, it didn't happen. But if Adam Fantilli keeps playing the way he's playing, which is really good, and continues on that trajectory, I would not be surprised if he is the guy that becomes the most expensive contract in Blue Jackets history. The NHL salary cap is soaring. It is 95.5 million for this coming season, but it will be 104 million in 2026, 2027, and 13.5 million in 2027, 2028. Oh my God, that's ridiculously high. Wow. That's
I'm going to
crazy.
take this off of here if you don't mind. I'll talk about it later.
All right. But basically, the basic idea is the contract's going to get done, but just not now. So that's the basic idea. Just wanted to share just some of it from, not Adam Fantilli's article, duh. Oh, geez. From Aaron Portzline's article. Aaron Portzline, good article. Check it out. I just shared some of it. There's also other stuff too in that article. He talks a little bit about Yegor Chinakhov and, what's going on there, and a whole bunch of other stuff in that article. So you should check that out. So as for let's see, I gotta get my Adam Fantilli slide back up. Put this back up on screen. There we go. Okay, and there we go. Get my Adam Fantilli slide back up. So Adam Fantilli, he's played very good for the Blue Jackets so far in his 2 years with the Blue Jackets, and a contract will happen. Just not now. Sometime down the road, a contract with Adam Fantilli will happen. So, good insight from Aaron Portzline, one of the many Blue Jackets writers. You should check out his Blue Jackets coverage, whether that be in The Athletic or on his Twitter page. So, it'll be interesting to see what kind of contract that Adam Fantilli gets. So, that's all I have for Adam Fantilli for now, and Hefty Duck can get into what he wanted to say there. But something else that he wanted to talk about.
Sorry, got distracted a little bit there. So, we can transition this from Adam Fantilli a little bit here. So, real quick before I do that, we do have another comment from Charles Stanforth. He says, also, if you guys don't mind, not to promote my channel, he has moved his show to TikTok on Saturdays at 1 p.m. If you guys want to check it out sometime and come talk about CVJ. That's a rough time for me.
Yeah.
Possibly Kevin might be able to sometime at some point in the future. But appreciate it, Charles.
Staying forth.
Stanforth, yes.
Shout out to Charles.
So, let's talk about a riskier contract now than the Adam Fantilli one, and we'll look at what taking a risk looks like and what possible outcomes could be. I don't think that we're going to see this with Fantilli. He had a freak accident last year, but that's not like an injury and right now Chinakhov's perfectly fine, but he is known to have had shoulder problems more than one season, same shoulder. So you look at that and you're like, when's that going to come into play next? Because it's not going to be never, but when's it going to come into play next?
Right.
And I mean, looking at Zach Werenski, he had a really bad injury too. He came back from it, and I don't think looking at him play and looking at him skate, I'm not worried for his safety. I'm not worried for him to get injured again because he seems 100% healthy. Hopefully, Chinakhov can do that as well. So he came into the league 2021-22. He was signed to an ELC, $925K contract for 3 years, and he looks great. He had 14 points in 62 games. He didn't get like a ton of playing time at the time. But then the next season, he was injured for the majority of it. He only played 30 games. But in those 30 games, he got about as many points as he did in twice as many games the year before. So he looked even better. So he, point per game average is like literally double. Then looking at the next year, 2023-2024, 53 games played. So once again, couldn't stay healthy for the whole season. But 16 goals, 13 assists for 29 points. That's the most points he's gotten in a season so far because he literally just got to play more games. So if we get this dude to be able to play every game or close to it, that's going to be a top scorer. That's going to be a top points earner. That's going to be possibly a top line player. But we can't bank on that yet.
Right.
So feeling the uncertainty, not knowing and looking at the feeling a little bit of doubt and unsure of the future with Chinakhov. In this last season, he signed a 2-year contract. I'm getting a little bit of echo from you, but he signed a 2-year contract worth $2.10 million each year, and in his first year of that contract, he only played 30 games. Now he got 15 points in those 30 games, which is half a point per game player. That's pretty solid. But this is what you had to do in Chinakhov's case, is give him a $2.1 million contract, a very, very short year, give him time to prove himself, and then offer him a big offer once he does that, or doesn't. And so far, he looks amazing on the ice. This guy is potentially a top-line player. It's just who do you move right now? But besides that, you can't bank on someone who you don't know is going to be there. This was the Patrick Laine situation.
Right.
Very, very similar, although they were paying him a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah.
You just don't know. What are you going to get? You're going to get 20 games, 30 games, hopefully a 50 game. Oh, you can get in there for 60 games. That's fantastic. When you look at how many games he's played before, that's the most games he's ever played in a season. Yeah. And so this seems different than the Fantilli contract to me, in that of Fantilli, he seems like a bit is a less riskier investment in my opinion.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at risk to reward, we're looking at Chinakhov right now, which also makes him a little bit hard to trade. Now, the whole reason I'm even bringing up and talking about Chinakhov is that Dave Peñata. How do I say his name? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't really listen to the fourth period too much, but anyway, he had talked about Igor Chinakhov, and from his own words, it was a trade is not imminent, and the Jackets are hopeful he changes his mind, but they have a solid chip to dangle or package for an upgrade later in the season. Especially when we're looking at trade deadline time. Hopefully this dude's healthy. Hopefully he's played some games. If he's doing that good and he's developing chemistry with other players, sorry, dude, I'm still getting some echo back from you here. Then maybe he'll be more likely to stay. But also, if not, then the Blue Jackets can get even more for him. So that to me is this whole situation in a nutshell. Is they're hopeful. I think someone else, Dean Everson, talked with Chinakhov last week. Brian Wallace, other journalist out there, District BW. This is talking about Chinakhov. While he has requested a trade, he is not pushing it. Dean Everson said they talked with him last week. The organization is hopeful that Chinakhov will change his mind. Hopeful does not mean that he's going to. It doesn't mean that they're pushing him to change his mind, But also, I don't know. This quote came from earlier in July, from I believe like a Russian news source or something like that. And Chinikov said, "I had some misunderstandings with the coach during the season. Now I would be glad to have a trade. I would like I would like to move to a different location. Will I return to Russia? As long as I can play in the NHL, I will keep developing here." He's not looking to go back to Russia. He's looking to make real top line NHL money. But in order to do that, you gotta play. We've said this like 3 trillion times. I've already repeated myself like 10 times here. He's so talented.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot give someone who's not ever played more than 60 games in a season more than like a $2 or $3 million contract. What's the point?
All right. Yeah.
You're not even going to earn the whole thing because they won't even be in there.
Yeah.
So now you're just killing your cap for no. Anyway, whatever, dude. I wanted to bring it up and talk about it because Dave Pinata talked about it. There's talks recently with stuff.
No, but you're right to say that because Yegor Chinikov, since coming to the Blue Jackets during the 2021-2022 season, when he plays, he's good. Like we've seen that time and time again. When he plays, he's good, and he's really good at shooting the puck. A really good shot, and he's one of the few people on the Blue Jackets that can shoot the puck like that. Maybe you can make the argument for like Kirill Marchenko, like ADAM Fantilli. But there's very few people that can shoot the puck like he can on the Blue Jackets. When he plays, he's awesome. We see it. And this past season was no different. The first 14 games that he played in, he had 7 goals in 14 games. Ridiculously good. And I've said this on the show before, but I'll always remember this goal. The Blue Jackets were playing Buffalo. It was their second home game of the season, and besides the home opener, which I was at, but I was also at the game against Buffalo after the home opener. And the Blue Jackets, they won that game 6-4. Yegor Chinikov is he scores the first goal to open up the game on the power play. And I'll always remember this. I just had the upper deck about just to the left of center ice, about like 5 rows up. And I had a perfect view of everything. And the Blue Jackets are on the power play. Yegor Chinikov, he gets the puck, and then just his patented shot that's just ridiculously good, where he just shoots it and just blows it by the goalie. No chance. I'll always remember seeing that goal because that's one of the best goals I've ever seen in person at a hockey game. It was just like, wow, what a shot. And it just proves what kind of shot he has, what he can do. He's proven it time and time again that when he's healthy, he's good. He has talent. He has value. He has first line, second line talent. But he gets hurt, and unfortunately, that does not help him. So, like, when they say, oh, you could have a good trade chip, you're right. You could have something good if it doesn't work out that way. I bet you teams would like to have something like a Yegor Chinikov, a guy who's shown that has first line, second line talent, a guy who can really shoot the puck. They would like to have something like that because teams are always looking for that extra guy to help out their team. If first line guy, second line guy, third line guy, fourth line guy, doesn't matter. Teams are always looking for that extra guy that can help out their team and give them that next edge compared to a different team. Yegor Chinikov could be that guy, even if he's not with the Blue Jackets, but he's got to stop being hurt. And all these injuries, and really not really his fault, they're freak injuries, and it's like, well, it is what it is. You can't really control that. But when he's healthy, he's good, and he's shown he can be a good player for the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that's pretty much Like all I really had to say on the topic, because we've mentioned it a couple times this summer, but a little bit of refreshed newsworthy stuff was there about him, so I wanted to bring it up. But that's about what I got. So what else do you have here, Kevin?
Next up, so of course, yes, we're going to be talking a lot about Michigan State and Penn State this season because they have two Blue Jackets prospects. That being Caden Lindstrom at Michigan State and Blue Jackets prospect Jackson Smith at Penn State. And Penn State recently released these pictures that they had from different players. And here we have Jackson Smith in his new Penn State uniform. So here we have him in the white jersey, and it's white helmet, white jersey, blue numbers, blue stripe, blue pants, white socks, blue stripe. We also have him in the blue jersey, so white helmet, blue jersey, white numbers, white stripe, blue pants, blue socks with the white stripe. So when I saw this, I had to share it. So here we have Blue Jackets prospect Jackson Smith in his new Penn State uniform.
Pretty dope.
It is.
I mean, not necessarily a huge Penn State fan, but I am a huge Blue Jackets prospect fan.
Yeah.
It looks good. He's already wearing a little bit of blue before he's going to be wearing blue in the Blue Jackets one time.
That's right. You'll be switching over to a slightly different shade of blue.
Very slight.
Yes. Very slight. It's close, but there is a difference.
Yeah.
Anyways, next up, we have this right here. Shout out to Kent Johnson. Shout out to Kent Johnson as he's proposed to his girlfriend, and they're going to get married.
Baptized and engaged in the same summer.
Yeah, talk about heaven. Man, he's really done it all.
That's crazy. Congrats for Kent Johnson. I kind of dislike the caption there, but Yeah,
well,
stop being weird towards players.
I know. I saw this on Twitter, and that old picture I thought I'd share it, but then, you know what? I don't even mean it. I don't even mean this in a disrespectful way towards this person, but there are just some people that I know what you're getting at there, Hefty Duck, that are just like kind of goofballs to some of the players and take their support / love for them for a bit too far and kind of goofy, but that's besides the point.
I'm not saying that every little thing that they've done is like totally wrong, but you remember that stuff last year with like Connor Bedard?
Oh God.
I think something similar happened to KJ, like back when he was really new with the Jackets, maybe.
Oh yeah. You had some girl who was a goofball who it was like a season ticket holder event and there's autographs, and she went up to Kent Johnson and gave the puck with a hockey puck with their phone number on it and gave it to Kent Johnson. And you see like a video of it, and Kent Johnson, he was nice about it. He played it cool, but you could kind of tell like he was like kind of like, dude, like what is this? Like, come on. And then like that same person went and stalked Kent Johnson and followed him like to his house and some goofy shit like that. Just like, God no.
Yeah, I don't really see that person posting, or I don't know if I follow them at all anyway. I don't really see them on social media anymore because the Blue Jackets, the fifth line is really cool about they're very accepting to all sorts of people. Very accepting. But when someone kind of oversteps that, fifth line is there to let them know because some of that's a bit much. But anyway, still awesome photo. Congrats to Kent Johnson, you and your future wife to be. Hope everything goes well for you.
Yes. So next up, we've been talking about what different Blue Jackets players have been doing with their summer, and we're going to continue that. So here we have Cole Sillinger with his brother at the Ohio State game recently.
Do you know who the guy in the middle is?
I do not know.
I wonder if it's more family or if it's like a player.
I don't know, but we have.
I didn't realize Cole's taller than Owen.
Yeah. Cole Sillinger and his brother Owen Sillinger, Ohio State game.
I really feel like they both do look like Mike Sillinger like quite a bit though.
Yeah.
It makes sense that that's their dad, but like
no, but sometimes you get like the genes of the mom and the dad. It's like perfectly balanced, and then sometimes you get it where it's like they look more like their mom or they look more like their dad, and you're like, oh, what the heck happened to like the mom's genes or the dad's genes? And people jokingly say like, are you sure like that? Hey, dad, are you sure that's your kid? Or hey, mom, are you sure that's your kid? Like, come on now, jokingly,
Well, it looks like Mike might have broke his nose at some point, but they both kind of have like the same like nose and mouth and everything like that as Mike did.
Yeah.
Does.
Yeah. So
anyway, just had to point that out.
Let's see here. This is another picture. So, but Cole Sillinger and his brother Owen Sillinger with two people who I don't know who they are. So, at Ohio State,
Yeah, I'm curious if it's like people showing them around or if it's like just fans who recognize them out and about.
Yeah. So it's that. Cool. Oh, where did that William shot for him to wait? Good on you, William. Okay, and then we got here we have Cole Sillinger again at the Ohio State football game. That's cool.
Look, they're great, but that was a hell of a snooze fest.
Oh, yeah.
I even heard someone. I seen a thing. I follow this account called Awful Announcing, and they posted a quote from one of the announcers that's like, "No one's listening. Who am I kidding? No one's listening to us. They're all over on the original NBC watching the Notre Dame game or something like that." Because like, so there was like a couple minutes left in the game, and like, are you seriously like? That's so boring.
Like, how do you that? Because that was on Peacock, so NBC, but their streaming service. But like, how do you think NBC feels about that when they hear that?
Right, one of their companies saying something about like it's like company to company banter, even just hilarious. I think it's less about the actual company, more about like how ridiculously blown out that game was. But like honestly, dude, it's like imagine like I just show up at like a peewee game, I'm allowed to play, and I just go out there and demolish everyone and score 15 goals. I feel like I'd get more than that, but I can't count on that. Those kids can be decent. But like, imagine I just go out there and dominate. Well, of course I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm not even. They're probably better puck handlers than I am, but I can just literally push them over. This is what's happening right here. I love Ohio State. I love Ohio State football, but like, it's a competition.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just an Ohio State thing. It's a college football thing in general, but it's like first couple weeks they just scheduled very good teams, and I'm of the belief that like get good competition. I'm not saying that you got to play like a Michigan or Alabama or a Texas or something every week, but get something that's kind of decent.
Yeah.
So you're not just blowing them out by like the second quarter, but that's besides the point. But Ohio State won, so that's cool.
You can't bring up Ohio State without one of us going on some sort of rant for at least.
No,
it just happened to be me.
Well, no, but that's just how it is. We like going on rants and doing shows over 2 hours, and we're passionate about the Blue Jackets, and we're passionate about Ohio State too, and we'll go on rants about them as well. Sometimes where we're ripping on them, and sometimes it's rants where we are just supporting them like crazy. That's just how it is. If you've watched the show for a bit now, you know that Hefty Duck and I we're going to talk about the Blue Jackets, and then we're probably just going to go on a rant about Ohio State, just how we're feeling that day. That's just how it is, Anyway, so that's that. Okay, so this was when Ohio State played Texas, and Elvis Merzlikins was at that game with his wife.
Pretty neat. He seems to be a big Ohio State fan himself.
Yes.
Love seeing him in and around the city of Columbus, though, too, because there's nobody needs to be in Columbus right now from the Blue Jackets team. Nobody does. Nobody's needed to be there all summer. But from what I understand, from what I've heard, too, that Elvis has stuck around for the majority of the summer.
He has.
And just because he improved a little bit last season, he's still looking to improve more for this season. Yeah. And he's at a point in his career where if he really did just kind of plateau and coast, he would still be a sought after goalie. I think if he just coasted, he wouldn't be the number one. But that's the whole point. That's why he's not, because he felt that pressure from Tarasov last year. Now he's feeling pressure from Greaves a little bit too. I'm going on another, totally not anything to do with this post, but all I'm saying is I love seeing him in around the area and making Columbus his home and showing. It's basically, to me, this is showing fans that hey, this is where I'm at. I'm going to do what it takes to be here. Right. It's just a photo from the game, I know, but still, big fan of seeing the players in and around Columbus in the offseason.
That's true. It shows that but that you are a part of the community during the season, but when it's the off season, you don't have to be there. It's cool that you're still hanging out in and around the Columbus area, and you are being a part of the community, and going to Ohio State games. And I know Dean Evison, he's talked about how he's gone to some Clippers games this summer and doing a bunch of other stuff too. So that's just cool that even though you don't have to be here right now, you're still, for some of you, you're still kind of hanging out in and around in the Columbus community.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Yes. This is a good joke. See, this is what we're getting at here. We do talk about Ohio State, and we go on rants, and we will go in different directions. Sometimes very supportive, and sometimes we just, jokingly rip on them. And this is no different. So, saw this recently on Twitter. Wins versus Michigan at Ohio Stadium. Dean Evison 1, Ryan Day 0. Hashtag NHL Stadium Series. And yeah. I thought that was funny, and I laughed at it. And it's I wish Ryan Day would stop losing to Michigan, because he's 1-4, and the only one win he got, it was in 2019 at Michigan. And, he's had 3 other tries and he's failed. And 2 of those tries were at Ohio State, and he's unfortunately failed. So, yeah, Dean Evison has, when you compare Dean Evison and Ryan Day playing a team from Michigan at the Shoe, unfortunately, Ryan Day does not have any wins, but Dean Evison, he's had 1. So shout out to Dean Evison for beating the team from Michigan at the Shoe, and maybe one day Ryan Day can do the same. I'm cheering for you. Hopefully you get it done.
Absolutely. Knock on wood this year.
Oh, God, we need to beat Michigan. I'm not going to take another Ohio State loss to Michigan. I'm not doing this. Nope. 4 in a row, that's enough. We don't need it. We don't need 5. We need to win. That's the point. Okay, next up.
Anything else? We're kind of getting here towards the end.
Yeah, I got some stuff, and then we can finish up.
Good deal.
Different, let's see, where is it? We're going to start here. So different Big Ten mascots, but they're playing hockey. So I thought this was fun. So here we have Wisconsin, and they are the Badgers. So we have the Badgers, a Badger playing hockey, and I think that's funny. I like this.
Honey Badger, don't.
Yeah, so that's cool. Next up, it's Michigan State. So we have a Spartan, and he's playing hockey. So I think that's cool.
Pretty neat. Nice little dress he has. I like it.
I know.
Listen, I know it's not
Yeah.
the other Michigan. I gotta throw a little shade sometimes here and there.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't. Michigan's the school I don't like. I'm not neither for or against Michigan State. They did, Michigan's really the only school that matters from a, rival perspective from Ohio State. That's just, me though. I got to put this up on the screen. But next up, we have the Gophers, the
Golden Gophers,
the Minnesota Golden Gophers playing hockey. And you know what? This is outside of Ohio State. This is my favorite Big Ten logo. I love this. This is so funny and awesome, and just a cartoon gopher playing hockey.
I'm trying to imagine. So he's got his right hand, and then the bottom hand. It looks okay. I can kind of tell. So it's like the bottom hand's coming up. So it's like this. It almost looks like he was going like this to me.
Yeah.
But that's just me being kind of rude about the drawing. Sorry.
Yeah. Dude, put this on a shirt. I get it. Put this on like a button or something. I get it. Like, I like this. This is probably my favorite non-Ohio State logo in the Big Ten right here. This cartoon-looking gopher. And he's playing hockey, and like he legit looks like he's playing hockey because he's got the gloves, he's got the hockey jersey, he's got the skates on, he's got the hockey stick, he's got the puck, and he's skating and he's playing hockey, and I just love this. So this is probably. No, this is my favorite non-Ohio State logo in the Big Ten. This cartoon-looking gopher playing hockey from Minnesota. But hey, we like Ohio State, so you can't. We gotta show Ohio State here. So, so here we go. So of course. Brutus.
Yes.
Brutus, Ohio State's mascot. So this is essentially a cartoon Brutus playing hockey, and I like it. It's cool. He's got the hockey jersey. He's got the skates, the gloves. He's got the hockey stick, the puck. He's skating, playing hockey. I like this. This is cool.
Was this AI?
No.
Okay.
No AI.
These gloves are perfect.
No, this was not AI. So I went down a rabbit hole of like Big Ten mascots playing hockey.
Yeah.
So then I just started looking stuff up on Google, and then so it's like, oh, this is Michigan State, this is Wisconsin, and this is Minnesota and Ohio State. So
that's cool.
That's where that's from. It just I went down a rabbit hole on Google of different Big Ten mascots playing hockey.
Pretty cool.
That's that. I have some hockey jersey concepts, but I'm going to save that for next week. So check and be out on the lookout for for that. Of course, got to give a shout out to 21 Pilots. Big Columbus band, and they're big Blue Jackets fans, and they played at the Blue Jackets outdoor game back in March, and they've been to Blue Jackets games. Well, recently this past Friday their new album Breach came out. So I've listened to some of their songs. I like it. Songs like Drum Show, The Contract, City Walls, and so much more. So, if you're 21 Pilots guy, check out 21 Pilots. They have a new album out called Breach, and they're from Columbus, and they're big Blue Jackets fans. So check out 21 Pilots. Support your fellow Blue Jackets fans.
Do it. It's free.
So,
I
okay.
guess it's not depending if you have to pay for your music service or not, I guess.
Well, yeah. So, okay. So we're going to say some of our stuff and, then we are going to get out of here.
Yep.
So, no, actually, I'm gonna put this back up on. I'm gonna put this up back on the screen here, which is this right here. Okay, so you should like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Please like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please tell your family. Please tell your friends. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. And as I always do, got to give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Good guy. Loved hanging out with you, talking with you, family parties, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, birthday parties, family get-togethers, and so much more. I love talking hockey with you. You're a big Blackhawks guy, but you became a Blue Jackets fan. Your second team was the Blue Jackets. You had a blue Blue Jackets hat that I gave to you, and you wore that a lot. You liked that hat. You wore it a lot at your cooking job, and you tell the story about how your fellow co-workers at your cooking job loved that Blue Jackets hat. They would say, "Oh, what's that hat?" And you go, "Oh, it's a Blue Jackets hat. My nephew gave it to me." Like, "Oh, that's hockey. Oh, that's a cool hat." And you tell me that story, and I just, love it. And you were a big supporter of Union Blue Soldiers because you can see he's got the Union Blue Soldiers scarf and so much more. So I wish you're still here so I could talk hockey with you and how you felt the Blackhawks season went and how you think the Blackhawks will do this upcoming season. And I could tell you how I thought the Blue Jackets season went and how I think the Blue Jackets are going to do this upcoming season. So shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. I wish you were still here so I could talk some hockey with you. So shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Thank you for everything.
Rest in peace, Uncle Doc.
And couple last things for me. You need to check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. And we do a march every year for the Blue Jackets home opener. You should check it out. It's going to be on Monday, October 13th, 2025, starting at our bar, 6 o'clock p.m. So join Union Blue Soldiers for our march on Monday, October 13th, 2025, our bar, 6 o'clock p.m. This is a little video from just different marches that we have had over the years. So I'm going to put that up on, I'm going to take that back. We're going to back this up here. Before we get to the video, here's where we're meeting, right here. This little area right here, just outside of our bar. Hefty Duck said, earlier on in the show, oh, you mean the patio area? Yeah, we're going to be in that little patio area. But, you can also just hang out in this little area. You got a little bench there, and there's other places where you can just stand by and just hang out before the march. So this little area by our bar, that's where we're meeting for the march on October 13th. So this is where we're meeting for this little area for the march, right here. This little area by our bar. Now, now we're gonna get to now we're gonna get to the video from the march. So this is a video from just different marches that we've had over the years. So, one last time, check out the Union Blue Soldiers March. Join the March of the Union Army, hosted by Union Blue Soldiers, on Monday, October 13th, 2025, R-Bar, 6 o'clock p.m. Join Union Blue Soldiers and your fellow Blue Jackets fans for the march on... I'm going to play this again so you can see it. So, join Union Blue Soldiers for our march on October 13th, 2025, R-Bar, 6 o'clock p.m. Join your fellow Blue Jackets fans as we march on to Nationwide Arena to cheer on the Blue Jackets. So, that's it for me, for now. We'll get Hefty Duck in here. He can say his things, and then we can get out of here.
Hell yeah. So, as always, just like at the beginning of the episode, I always like to shout out our audio listeners. Once again, if you like to listen to us on audio instead of trying to catch a live stream on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern, you can check us out on YouTube, podcasts, on Google, Spotify, wherever you can find podcasts, Apple, whatever. We're there. Also, check us out on YouTube. We do broadcast over there as well. Our biggest fan base, viewer. I don't know if you're fans or not. You might just be viewers. Viewers are definitely coming from Twitter, but please check out our YouTube. We're trying to grow that right now as well. Thanks for everyone for tuning in tonight. Check me out. I'm at Lance_Schrock on Twitter. And you can check out my my artwork. Check me out at lance.schrock.tattoos on Twitter. Sorry, Instagram. Totally different thing. Check us out on Facebook. We're there. Brew Jackets. We're on Facebook somewhere. We don't really do much there, but you could convince us to if you follow. Excellent. So I don't think I have anything else here to add. So we'll be back here next week, September 21st, at 7 p.m. Eastern, unless otherwise noted. I don't think I have anything on my schedule at the moment, but most likely going to be then and whatnot. So we'll see you all in a week from today, same time, same place. Have a good week, and let's go Blue Jackets.